Here we are. Hello, welcome. So it's hot and warm where I am in Yorkshire. Maybe it is where you are. So we're going to have a cooling, refreshing seaside trip in our mind's eye for this next half hour of movements. So once again, seated, standing, your choice. Look after yourselves. Do make sure you've got a drink nearby. If you do need to have a drink at any time, please do have one. Let me push my seat back and we will get started. Okay, let me start seated. So we're going to go swimming. Okay, so we're going to go swimming. So we're going to place our hands, palms up like so, and we're going to push them forward, fingers forward, turn the backs of the hands so that they touch, and then swim them gently back to where we started. And then once again, push the fingertips forward, turn the backs of the hands, touch the backs of the hands, and then swim back. If you wish, again, whether you're standing or sitting, you can have a little bit of a lean forward and then a little bit of a lean back if you wish. If you're standing, you might want to put one leg or foot forward a little bit. I'm doing the same, sat down with my right leg, my prosthetic side. And you could do a few swimming strokes with one leg slightly forward and then alternate with the other leg. I'll let you do that by yourselves as you feel. But if you lean back a little bit, it gives you a real sense. It gives you some space for the hands and arms. So let's imagine that we're in lovely, cool, not cold, cool water on a warm summer's day. Is September still summer? I'm not sure. It's very, very late summer, but it feels very summery. And just swim those strokes. We'll do a couple more. So I'm hoping this just sets the scene for us in our kind of watery explorations. As we do one more stroke back. We'll forego all that travail that we were talking about before in terms of negotiating the beach as we exit the water. And we'll stay in the water, but we're going to do some splashing or cast our cares away. So this is my right hand. You can start with your right hand as well. And we're splashing to the left. And then we take the left hand and we splash and look to the right. So again, have this sense of coolness and a little bit of fun as we splash from one side to the other. Just like so. Again, very good for our shoulders with that range of motion, and we're getting some upper back mobility as well. And it just is a fun way of thinking about getting that movement. Let's do one more splash to each side. There we go, splashing. It wouldn't be the seaside without our familiar pull a boat into shore. We're going to keep it nice and light though. We've done some versions where we've really imagined that the boat gets heavy, but it's hot, it's humid, so we'll keep things nice and light. So once again, we're going to bring the hands around and then close the hands into very loose fists. Send out one hand, doesn't matter which. Reach out for your rope, wrap and pull, and begin to start that smooth, familiar pull and really build into your mind's eye the boat and the rope and the scene in which you find yourself pulling this boat towards you. You might go on a lovely little boat trip into the evening. You might have a secluded spot that you can only reach by boat. And you're going to have a nice picnic or barbecue. That might be quite nice. You can have all these things in mind as we pull that boat steadily towards us. But again, we're getting really good shoulder mobility as we do so, rolling each hand smoothly forward and then drawing back and letting the shoulders rotate around the spine. If you can imagine a spine like a pole or a hinge, and the shoulders turn around that axis. We'll do 2 more pulls just to bring our boat into shore to get ready for our little trip, and bring it into shore. Okay, more boats. I'm going to stand up now for the next bit, but whether you're seated or standing, it still applies. And we're going to rock our little boat, okay, just to make sure that we're in control. So if you were standing in your boat, you're going to have a bit of a wider stance. If you sat down, we're going to be moving weight from one hip to the other. And it doesn't matter which side you choose a side and really imagine that you rock the boat to one side, control that rock, and then rock the boat to the other side. And again, control that rock so you feel confident in being able to maintain stability. Sometimes we think of stability and balance as static things, standing on one leg and not moving and not falling over. But actually, so much of what is really about stability and balance is this little dynamic kind of dance from one leg to the other, and that maintains the balance. And that's so much of what Tai Chi is about, is understanding this dynamic of shifting weight from one side to the other, whether we're seated or standing. Okay, still with our boat, that was just to get us prepared to launch some arrows off to the left and right. So we're going to pick the hands up. We're going to come just overhead. We're going to turn the palms. I'm going to look to my left and drop my left hand. But as I do so, I rock my boat to the right. And then I'm going to recenter my boat as I lower both hands down. And then bring the hands up and turn them over. And then I'm looking now to my right as I drop the right hand and I rock my boat to the left. And then once again, I recenter. And we alternate from one side to the other. So we've got this careful shift of weight and balance from one side and then back to the other. And we're also releasing arrows in the opposite direction to which we shift weight, which challenges our brain a little bit to manage that coordination of weight shift, recentering, and then weight shift again, only to the other side as we go. One more, each side, okay? So we shift, And recenter, last one. Excellent. Okay, just have a little shake out. So, lovely, watery kind of feeling. Dragons in China are watery, mythical creatures, not fiery creatures as we would think in sort of Western mythical traditions of fire-breathing dragons. Dragons are associated with all kinds of watery things, from clouds, mists and fogs, to rivers, streams and springs, and of course seas and oceans. So we're going to do our dragon movement. This is where we have this kind of grasping type hand shape. It creates a dragon mouth with the thumb and index finger. And again, I'm going to have a little bit of a wider stance if I'm standing up. If you sat down, I like to imagine that I'm just reaching across a table to reach for something. That helps me with the kind of visual aspect. But I'm sweeping the hands up the front of my body, rolling them over, and then reaching across with my dragon hands, and then slowly bringing them towards me. But try to have this fluent and mobile and motility. It's like I've swallowed a dictionary. Kind of feel a watery dragon, all flowing, smooth, elegant, as we reach and draw back. As you can see, when I draw back, I'm standing up and then once again reaching forward. Again, we're getting a stretch through the back, through the shoulders as we do so, and then we get a little bit of a reprieve as we roll the hands, and then once again we get that stretch. Again, if we've been sat down for a long time, this can be a nice sort of intuitive stretch to just reach out. It's kind of very cat-like as well, isn't it? We'll do one more. Here we go. And back. Okay. Still with our little boat, we're going to cast our nets to the right and left as well. Again, this can involve some weight shift from one side to the other. So we're going to bring one hand overhead. This is my right hand, so if you do want to join me, and then my left hand is down below. So it's one of these casting nets. You may have seen them. And we're going to sweep to the right if you've got the right hand overhead, and there's some weight shift in that direction as well. And then we turn the hands over and we sweep our net to the left. Turn the hands over, sweeping from one side and then to the other. Again, you're in control of that rock and roll from one side and then to the other, seated or standing. But we've got this nice rhythm or gentle rock as we cast our nets to the right and then to the left as we go. I'm going to do one more to the right and then one more to the left, and then come back to the center. Okay. Searching for a needle at the bottom of the sea. That's our next movement. Can be a challenging movement for both people seated or standing. So we'll go nice and easy. It's a movement again from the Yang style Tai Chi form. I'm going to think of it more of a kind of a little bow and we're emphasizing a little bit of weight on a forward foot, but our weight is still back, so hopefully under control. It can be a bit of a challenging movement, so let me know how we go. I'm trying this out. If you sat down, see if you can emphasize weight on the right side. That's what we're going to do. If you can, have a little bit of weight, on the left leg, and see if you can push the right leg forward. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick the hands up. It's as if we hold a ball, and then we're going to bring the hands down on either side of the thigh and have a little bow. We might just travel down maybe as far as the knee and then pick up, bring the hands back, and then once again down. If you're sat down, you'll be able to just travel the hands along one side. Like so. So standing up may be a bit more of a challenge. I do appreciate it could be a challenge. It's kind of the opposite direction of our dragon movement that we did just a few moves ago. One more on this side. And then just recenter yourselves, seated or standing. And then we're going to do the same with a bit of an emphasis. I'm moving my left leg forward, but my weight is back on this prosthetic side, the right side, which actually is the more challenging side. Same thing. I'm just going to move very comfortably or as comfortably as I can and up. So it's a challenge. It definitely challenges me. So I'm going to assume it's a challenge for you, but again, we need a little bit of challenge on occasions. Just to see how we manage in some positions. I sometimes think of this as a movement that we might need to do when we're reaching down to try and pick something up, maybe. I'm going to do one more on this side. Okay, so that was searching for a needle at the bottom of the sea. Let me know how you got on with that at the end. Okay. Obviously, we couldn't be beside the sea and not make waves. So I'm going to rejoin people who are seated. Do stay standing if you prefer. So we're going to make waves, pushing waves out. So here we go. On the right side, first of all, again, if you're seated, you may want to push or have an emphasis on that right side. If you are standing and you feel confident that you can push that right leg forward a little bit, then do so, or just stay square on. We're picking the hands up. We're going to place them carefully in the water, and the aim is to push a very smooth wave out. Lift the hands clear, and then make a second wave, but try not to create any splashes. Just smooth waves, one after the other. Excellent. Okay. I'm going to swap to the left side. I'm just going to turn a little bit. I'm pushing my left leg forward. It gives me a bit of support. It gives me a sense of focus as well. And once again, we're going to begin to push smooth waves out as we do so. Excellent. One more. Good job. And we're going to do wave hands in clouds, yang style. So sweep a right hand around. Again, if we imagine that we are embracing someone, that gives us a very good sense of how this movement feels. So this right hand is between that person's shoulder blades. Left hand comes underneath into that person's small of back. Right hand on top, so that means I'm turning and sweeping gently my partner to that right side. I then take the hands off, swap places, left hand on top, sweep my partner to the opposite side, and just get into the rhythm of that alternation from one side and then to the other. And if you notice, all the action happens at either side. The actual sweep, the hands do nothing. It's the exchange happens from one side and then to the other. Excellent. Wave hands in clouds. And if you can have a little look and lead with the head, that just smooths things out even further. Okay, we're going to do one more on each side before coming back to the center. So I'll just let you do that in your own time. Doesn't matter if we've ended up out of sync. This is me coming back, and then just let that imaginary dance partner fade away and disappear. Okay, let's go for a row. Rowing the boat. Let's imagine now that it's evening. It's definitely evening where I am now, and let's imagine it's going very still, and we're in a little boat, the one that we pulled in earlier with our rope, and we're going out for a little row. So if you can, hands, arms hanging loosely, and we're taking them back at first and then sweeping them up and forwards, and then they row back, and we're making circles. And imagine that you are rowing your boat. Now, if we were in the Far East, you'd notice that people row their boats sitting forwards. In fact, they do so in a lot of European countries as well, rather than rowing facing the back of a boat or the stern. So you could imagine you are actually facing forwards in your boat, so you can see where you're going. Slowly make the circles of the hands and arms larger. You're in charge. You can decide how big or large those rotations become. But if you feel confident and your shoulders allow, you can begin to end up with these really big rotations. In fact, really big. For the finer ones, it kind of turns into a big butterfly stroke as if we were swimming. Not that I think I could do butterfly stroke any longer, but there you go. One more and rest. Rowing the boat. So we'll bring things to a conclusion by imagining that we've rowed our boat to our secluded little spot, maybe a little bay somewhere, and the sun is setting and the moon is rising, and we've got our little barbecue, and friends and family maybe are nearby, and we're going to finish off with gather celestial energy and gather earth's energy. So bring those hands up, palms down, and then look up to the night sky as it begins to unfold above, lifting the palms as we go, and then lower those hands and arms as we bring some stars down to earth, just the first few glimmers of stars. And we sweep the hands around, gather up those stars, and then we let them go. Off they fly. We pick up the hands. We take a blanket. As it gets cooler, we may want to wrap ourselves in a blanket, touching the collarbones with his fingertips, and then we let the blanket fall away. And then we go again, picking the hands up, gather celestial energy, looking up to that starry sky above, and then back down. Gathering stars, letting them go. Here's our blanket, taking maybe a corner of each blanket and wrapping it around, falling away. One more. Let's go for one more. Lift up towards the sky. And gather our stars. And then reaching up for our blanket, for our final wrap, all cozy. And then we'll let that blanket go. And then just to finish, we'll just bring the thumbs to link together. Rest those hands just on the lower abdomen or tummy. And then just rest. Rest your eyes if you wish. In just 30 seconds or so, just in a very nice, quiet little repose. Just breathing, having had a jolly nice day by the sea. Kind of just breathe it all in and enjoy the moment. And then when you're ready, part the hands. And there we are. I hope that's been an enjoyable, cooling seaside visit. Kind of hope it gives the idea that we can really set the scene for ourselves sometimes. It hopefully teaches us something about our mindset sometimes in certain circumstances, that actually we do have the tools to sometimes change circumstances. If not the external circumstances, we can sometimes change the internal ones at least. So I hope that's been enjoyable. I'm going to stop recording. Hopefully see you next week, those people who are watching later, and take care. Let me pull up and do that recording. Hit the button. Thanks for that, Helen.